What's up, Gamecock Nation? Tashawn Wanamaker here checking in, and you're about to hear the show presented by Express Suns Rooms of Columbia. Spurs up.
Here in Columbia, well, it's been buzzing loudly all weekend.
Passion of the crowd in Williams-Brice Stadium is second to none.
And the raid breaks out in Columbia.
It is good!
Gamecock fans, welcome home.
See how it goes, but we'll be ready to go.
It's time to root.
Let's go, Carolina!
It's gone! Touchdown! What a hit! He baked it in! Can you believe it? Gamecocks have won this game!
Here are your hosts, J.C. Sherbert.
Oh, watch him celebrate now!
Phil Molinex.
My wife doesn't like hanging around losers.
And Jamie Bradford.
I'm going to tell him, you look like you joined Duck Dynasty.
All right, greetings and good morning, and welcome aboard Inside the Gamecocks, the show, live from the Sinorama Studios and very proudly presented by Express Sunrooms of Columbia. Around the horn, J.C. Sherbert with the Bucky's beanie on, Phil, the bald guy, and me with the hat. I am JB. We're here until 1 o'clock this afternoon, and how much things change in just a couple of days. There is certainly a lot to get to, but first and foremost, the preferred sign partner of the Gamecocks is Sinorama of Columbia, and they should be yours as well. You'll see in just a little while why they are the preferred side partner of South Carolina athletics, because they are unbelievable at what they do. Maybe it's vehicle graphics, maybe it's a wall, maybe it's a banner, maybe it's a sign you need outside of your business. It is Sinorama Columbia, Gamecock owned and operated, 803-407-9284. And with that said, JC is back now full time, I guess, after traveling to the great state of South Carolina, unfortunately for a funeral this weekend. But my understanding, so it was more of a celebration of life So that is always good to hear. In the meantime, JC, Gigi Jackson went public with some frustrations. He has since recanted those comments, but they are out there. Let's see. We've had 3 football players get arrested. The women went to UConn and took down the Huskies. The men continue to struggle. Carolina's recruiting at an elite rate. It's the Super Bowl, and we're expecting major news from the University of South Carolina's athletics department this week about a future project. So where do we begin? I don't know, but I'll let you start. What's up?
Yeah, people are going to have to kind of deal with me today voice-wise. I think I blew it out karaoke-wise, and then had something with jalapenos in it and had a little acid reflux. And so my vocal cords are a little shot today, but you'll just have to deal with it. And I'm sure I'll be better by the end of the week. I thought the Gigi, the word that I keep coming back to with him is maturity. And I think it shows when he plays. I think it shows some of his body language. I don't think Gigi Jackson's a prima donna. I don't think he's a guy that you're going to see things like this happen with very often now or in the future. But I also think that he's a 17-year-old kid, and he's frustrated and he's out there trying. And certainly that loss Saturday was it was a competitive loss, and it's one that I think maybe they felt like they should have had. And when you're a competitor like Gigi Jackson is, you do want the ball in those situations. Anybody would. I thought it was one of the shots of them was a terrible launch by Michi Johnson. So I get it. But it's never a good look when a guy like that goes public. It's never a good look. It's never something that you want to embrace as a program. That's not what athletics in Carolina are all about. And so just glad he apologized, and everybody should just move forward.
Yeah, look, man, I think what it comes down to for me, I have no idea what the play call was. Don't care. I'm not in the locker room with Coach Parrish. I'm not going to tell him how to coach a team. Not going to tell kids how to play the game. I don't know about any of it. But I come back to the maturity side with you, because what's happening today is that we're gonna let's have a this is gonna be hypothetical on our program, but it's not really hypothetical. Okay, so John and Jay are at the water cooler at lunch today, and John asked Jay if he heard about Gigi Jackson's comments, and Jay says no, and then John gives him his version of what Gigi Jackson said, and then Jay turns around and tells that story to a couple of people, and then they tell it to a couple of people, and it brings just a bunch of unnecessary nonsense to a program that is really, really struggling. And when you go out and, if you've ever been mudding, I used this example this morning on Gunner's show, Gunner and Preston Thorne, when I was talking to them. I said, Preston, if you've ever been mudding, and I know you have, because you're from Scummerville, excuse me. And you go out and you dirty that thing up, the more mud you get on it, the harder it is to clean. You find it in all types of crevices and all types of joints and all types of stuff all around your truck. All right, there's a lot of mud on that Carolina basketball truck right now, and now you throw more on it, and again, it's not the comments, it's the fact that you air the laundry, and then you have a whole world that is judging you, and none of them can judge you based on anything that they actually know. Okay, so like it just made Barstool Sports, right? Okay. So that makes it across the country. Well, how many people ever actually go in and read the articles, and how many times are the articles actually truly right? Okay. And so it takes on a life of its own. So now people all across the country are seeing this 5-star calling out his basketball team. They don't look anywhere into it. There's no context to it. Right. And it just generates negativity. And that's where my issue is. Okay. I don't care about what he said. I don't care about what the play was. People can argue that stuff all day long. I have no insight into what should or should not have happened. But what I do know is that this does not add anything good to a program that is not good itself.
No, I mean, you can guarantee that, more people have seen the video than have been watching Gamecock basketball games this year. Here, lesson for all you young kids out there, and even some old ones who do stupid stuff on the internet. The internet is forever. You can delete, you can do whatever you want to, but if it's good enough and somebody steals it, then it's out there forever.
Yeah, well, and when your name is, I'm not hammering Gigi Jackson, by the way. I like him. I like Gigi Jackson, and he learned. That was a learning moment, big time. But like when your name is Gigi Jackson, just like if Spencer Rattler did that, Gigi Jackson is the face of Carolina basketball, whether he likes it or not. I think he does like it because he wants the ball. That's one thing that has been missed in all of this. There's an 18-year-old kid who wants the damn ball to win the game, which is absolutely fantastic. But if you're Gigi Jackson, if you're Spencer Rattler, if you're Will Sanders on the baseball team, like you're the face of the program, So when you speak and you're critical of your coach or your teammates or your program, whatever it is, regardless of in what context you may want it to be and what else you go on to say, which he did go on to say that he loves his teammates. Shoot, he says he might even come back for another year. Who knows? But all that stuff is getting lost in this, and that's my point with all of it. Right? Is like. What John and Jay are talking about at the water cooler today is not necessarily the fact that Gigi said he loved his teammates. They said he was on Instagram saying he wanted the ball and he didn't know why he didn't get it. Meanwhile, his head coach is in a press conference at the same time saying the play was designed for him. So, like, I don't know about all that, but I do know that just the action in itself of being public with your frustration when you're the face of the program, it takes on a life of its own. And that's where we are, and that's where we're going to be, regardless of any apologies or anything like that. Like, do y'all think that Barstool Sports is going to now run a column that says, oh, wait, Gigi Jackson apologized for his comments? No. We're not doing that.
Nobody is.
Nobody's doing that. Like, we hear it, we move on. What about all these kids that are Cam Scott, there's a bunch of guys out there they want to sign. They're following Gigi Jackson. What is this kid saying? What does he think? What does he feel? They probably already reached out to him. So you get all these different versions of life, but based on, this one moment. And that's where my issue is, because the internet, as you said, Phil, is forever.
It's unfortunate. We're in that media. I mean, I guess it started about 10 years ago where the media, a lot of it, the online media, they don't really do original reporting. They kind of go and write a bunch of snark and then I guess aggregate snark. If that's the case, I mean, look, there's people out there trying to cash in on everything. I mean, there was a Maryland NIL collective guy that just started raising hell on Friday about the Gamecocks and insinuating all kinds of stuff and then all that. And they're butthurt, even though they were third for Harbor, maybe fourth, they're butthurt, but there was all these accusations, and I kind of tweeted back at them from the Carolina Rise account. I was like, you really don't know what you're talking about. You're conflating two things that are separate things or whatever. All of a sudden, my phone gets blown up by some kind of NIL online magazine, and they're like, "Oh, would you comment? Would you comment?" I'm like, "No, I'm not going to comment." I was like, "That's our comment. I'm not going to comment. This is not a debate. This is not something that I'm going to sit here and go back and forth so you can present his idiot side and my side. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to make you any money off of it. You want to write a legitimate story, write a legitimate story. This is not controversial. That dude's totally wrong. And if you knew your stuff that you're writing about, you wouldn't write an article about it. Mm-hmm. But you're just trying to stir stuff up and take advantage of a very large fan base that will go read it and give you clicks and page views." So I said, no comment. Well, the other guys comment. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to participate in something that's a non-debate in a public forum. But unfortunately, that's what happens. And this thing with Gigi is going to linger. It's going to linger. They'll probably talk about it on the broadcast whenever the next game is. Oh, well, some interesting comments,
Yep.
And then as an aside, we'll say he apologized for it. And that's what's a shame these days in everything, man. Political media is not immune to this. Sports media not immune to this. Is nobody wants to follow the story. They want a headline. And that's sad. That's sad because, you really can't live life with 140 to 280 characters on Twitter. And you really can't live life being informed just reading headlines. Yeah. And I've seen more people actually pissed off about headlines and headline mistakes in the last 2 or 3 years than I have seen people mad about articles and content within the article. And that means, hey, if you're complaining just about headlines, yeah, you're lazy. You need to go read the article. And some headlines are ridiculously inappropriate, and they're not even the writer's fault with certain outlets. But
sure,
that's the thing these days. People want to drag you in to the public forum and make controversy where there's none, and not put things to bed because it helps them. It helps them keep on rocking and rolling. Nana Sports Chat Box obviously is rocking and rolling.
Always.
Brian asked Gamecock Anthem. What is Gamecock Anthem? It was a scout.com South Carolina site run by Doug Jolly and Jonathan Jolly. I think they started right around the time Big Spur did, but we ended up enveloping the entire Scout network. But they had kind of hung it up long before that. Clint likes Tony's Paler update this morning. Jonathan Paler, fast receiver, 2024 out of North Carolina. So maybe some North Carolina. And so to get back to one of your topics you mentioned at the beginning, JB, the arrests. And Sean asked, is there any new information likely to be kicked off or slap on the hand? I think it's serious. And I think all three of these guys are in jeopardy right now, although I don't know what the ultimate outcome will be for all of them.
Right. I agree. Phil, I think we need to look. I'll just give. I don't think this is really a secret. I'll just give my version of the story. Matter of fact, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think maybe even a couple of days ago, Whittle had even said some of this on the Big Spur. My version of this story is that this weapon was owned by one of the three individuals, and what I was told was they all went basically to a gun range. Okay, which there's nothing illegal about that. What's wrong is that this thing ended up back on campus, and it's not allowed to be there, and that nobody claimed it, and that's where you start to get some of these obstruction charges and stuff like that that come in. You don't talk, you're all going for it. That's the version of this story that I've got. Could there? I'm sure I'm missing details. I'm sure I am. But to kind of summarize, that's kind of what I got. And I'm not sure what else y'all have heard. With all that said, it is a very serious crime now to have a weapon on campus, especially of this magnitude. So we'll see what happens. But I would say let it play out. I have not heard anything. Guys, have y'all heard anything? Like, I don't think that there was anything that was – I mean, generally when you see stories like this, you go right down that dark rabbit hole, right, of like, why, which I totally understand that because we have had some awful tragedies in our nation. I do not have any ounce of me that thinks it had anything to do with anything bad other than it shouldn't have been there.
No, it seems like, it was just, thoughtless, is what it was. I don't think there was any intent or anything.
Stupid. Yeah.
Careless error is what I was told, but it's, I mean, I hope all three of them make it back. Obviously, Montague Rames and Anthony Rose, they've had some bumps in the road before they got to college. Rose went to 4 high schools, and Rames had to change high schools from Sumter to Manning. And you don't want things to be over for those guys before they start, just because you got. Some kids going to a gun range. Sonder mentions in the chat box possession of a handgun under 21 is illegal. They didn't have a handgun. They had a rifle.
Yeah, it was a rifle.
And that is legal. They can, if they got the permit and the license and all that, they can. I don't know what the laws are in South Carolina now. I mean, can you own it without even having a registration? I have no idea, but you absolutely cannot have it on college campuses. And that is a law. And look, these guys live – they know that they live there. It's just kind of, I mean, I think sometimes kids, they may process it, well, I just can't bring this to biology class, right? But the dorm is on campus, so I get it. I know we got to get a first break, I guess back after these messages, right, guys?
Yeah, that's how it works.
See y'all right after this.
Shoot. Let's do it. Shoot. All right, Donnie. All right, my man.
The preferred sign partner of Gamecock Athletics is Signorama Columbia, and they should be yours too. A full-service sign company that handles design, production, install, and service, Signorama Columbia has helped to bring to life the perfect vision for so many all across South Carolina. Owned and operated by proud Gamecock alumni, they can handle all types of signage, including interior and exterior, vehicle graphics, and more. Go to Signorama.com and find the West Columbia location, or call them at 803-407-9284. Bring your brand to life with Signorama Columbia, and go Gamecocks.
Are you looking to buy a new home? Kevin O'Connell with Union Home Mortgage is a local mortgage expert and Gamecocks fan servicing North and South Carolina. Whether you're buying a home, building your dream home with new construction, or turning your equity into cash, UHM's world-class service will ensure you find the perfect mortgage to achieve your home ownership goals. Call Kevin at 803-906-0244 or visit UHM.com today. Union Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS 2229, LONMLS 1772182.
Gamecock Nation, JB here, and I'm here to tell you about my new favorite painting company, A Couple of Painters. These guys are the best. Gamecock fans and excellent painters, and by far the best and easiest quote I've received. They're licensed in both South Carolina and Georgia. They offer 10% off for military, repeat customers, or if you heard it on the show, commercial and residential painting, deck, fence, and cabin staining, cabinet and furniture refinishing. They'll even remove popcorn ceilings and wallpaper, and they offer pressure washing. Find them on Facebook or call 803-522-6832. A Couple of Painters, proud partners of Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
Man, are you sick and tired of your business computer guy?
Yes, he takes forever to call me back and doesn't always respond to the requests.
Yeah, same here. I'm paying him good money. I constantly have issues, and I'm worried he's not backing up my network and securing it properly.
Oh, I feel that, man. My head hurts, but I have a good lead on a good idea. I'm calling your boy Matthew Odom today from Heritage Digital. Heritage Digital is an IT firm that specializes in making sure your IT network runs like a dream. If you have 1 or 500 employees, it doesn't matter. They do it all for one monthly fee and have clients from South Carolina all the way to California.
Yeah, I heard that monthly fee's low too, so I don't know why I didn't even think of that. Do you have 843-699-1001 as Matt's contact number?
Yeah, man, I sure do that. Or you can go to heritagedigital.com.
Man, I hear they do a no-cost assessment. Boy, this will help me.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm getting on that and encouraging everyone else to do the same. Heritage Digital, 843-699-1001 or heritagedigital.com, a proud sponsor of Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
This is former All-American shortstop Drew Meyer, and you're listening to Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Go Gamecocks.
Welcome back to Inside the Gamecocks, the show, everybody. Presented to you by Express Sunrooms in Columbia. Give John Barber a call, 803-446-4662. Set up a no-obligation consultation about an outdoor retreat for your home. We also are presented in the first hour by Cindy Searfoss and the Coldwell Banker Kane Realty team here in Spartanburg. Give Cindy a call, 864-414-5271. for your upstate residential real estate needs. And yes, we are correct. Some of us in the chat box. Quantrell asks, so would the charge have been different if they were off campus? There would have been no charges. It is not illegal to possess a long gun over the age of 18 in South Carolina. It is, however, illegal to have one on public school campus, whether that be K all the way through public institutions of higher learning.
Yeah, it's this is one of those things. I don't want to be caught with my pants down speculating on what the future is going to be until there's more information. There's just like we know enough to know what happened, but I have no clue how the university is going to handle this. And folks, you know, I think everybody knows this, but maybe for the half of 1% out there that don't, This has zero to do with anything that Shane Beamer or Coach Tanner, they have no influence on this. This is a university issue. It's a student issue. It has nothing to do with athletes or athletics. So we'll have to figure it out. Yes, Sandra, I'm about to turn around and cast here and during the next break, as a matter of fact.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that's my kind of background right there, JP.
Yeah, that's right. By the way, hey,
Yes,
JC,
peaceful.
to liven it up here, on Friday, Phil and I had some fun with the National Days calendar. And what we discovered was on Sunday was National Shower with a Friend Day. So
strong to strike, quite strong.
I showered all by myself. I'm not sure about the rest of you, but today is National Chopsticks Day and National Frozen Yogurt Day.
Oh,
We got chopsticks in our house. I think maybe they'll be put to use later today.
yeah, that's another girls we have to throw you.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to mention that. That's chopsticks. I have not mastered chopsticks, and I never will. Give me a fork and a spoon, please.
Right. I can't tell you how many times I've been eating sushi, and I said, "Oh my God, screw it! Give me the fork." You know,
sushi's. It's just a stab. For me, it's a stab. Dip in the soy sauce, throw it in the mouth, shoot it back like oysters. You're like Had some decent oysters this weekend too on the half shell. Really nice ones too. Yeah, it was pretty solid.
Good.
So, and by the way, that Gigi Jackson video, he did mention I'm thinking about coming back. While I think he would be a higher draft pick if he did have another year of college, I don't know that he'll come back to South Carolina. I mean, there's a lot that you'd have to kind of, get through because the whole purpose of him reclassifying and coming to South Carolina was so he could get to the NBA sooner. I believe there's a new collective bargaining agreement coming online. So they're trying to, because apparently they're going to cut rookie salaries. So apparently they're trying to get in before that. I don't know all the extreme ins and outs of it, but I wouldn't read too much into that. I think hey, look, great if he does, because we've all been sitting there talking about men's basketball looking for hope. Well, that gives you hope, but I can't see that happening right now.
Yeah, no, I've always said and continue to maintain that he's going to, you go with the devil, when it comes to collective bargaining agreements, and he knows that this is a good opportunity for him, even if he's not a lottery pick. So long as he's in the first round, he's got it made.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think he'll return. I'm pretty sure he's gone, but I think, and I saw just a minute ago here, the Nana Sports chat box is wide awake. Thank you. Joey Sox says just coming in, but Barstool wrote about it only because the guy who wrote the article is a UK grad, so he rips on Carolina whenever given the chance. Salty that we owned them in every sport this year, which is true. But Joey, that was my point earlier, is these things take on a life of their own. When you open the bag, this is the stuff that you get. That was my exact point. I don't care about why somebody does or does not write or comment or whatever about what Gigi said. The fact is that is going to be somebody out there is going to use it to create their own drama out of it, which is exactly what happened here. But that was my whole point. He made my point for me, I think, was hopefully kind of what he was getting at there. But I'm not trying to justify why or why not somebody else is going to take these stories and run with them. The point is the story's there to run with. Don't give them that opportunity. And again, and also, I don't want this to come off, I'm not trying to be rude to anybody, because I certainly understand when people say, well, he's a young kid, he's young, he made a mistake. I get that. I understand that. But there's a lot of young kids out there. Okay. And they're not all hopping on pissed off social media after a ball game, calling out their coach and whatever else. That doesn't pass the test for me. I think this morning Preston Thorne said it best on 107.5 The Game. Look, he's got a bunch of teammates in there that weren't on Instagram doing this. It's not happening all over the country. It's not like these kids are just all 18. If this was an 18-year-old at Kentucky, we'd all, half the fan base ours would be picking on him and making fun of him. and called him a prima donna and this, that, and the other. But all of a sudden, he's a Carolina kid, so they want to protect him by saying, "Well, he's only 18." Well, you got to understand. I'm just sorry. Like, if we want to be able to we want to pay these kids, right? Right? Everybody wants to pay them. You want to be a businessman? You better act like one. I mean, like, I don't buy into all that stuff. I don't. You have a job. Your job's to play basketball. You open a can of worms like this, your whole program has to deal with it, not just you.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And as Will pointed out, the waiting a year and then the new collective bargaining agreement and a lockout. The Rapids are going to get a little more rough in the NBA after that. Big Wash said, and Big Wash, I know that's why I mentioned that said he's thinking about coming back. I'm sorry if my voice didn't allow you to hear me clearly articulate that. My bad. But yeah, he said that on the Instagram account too. His live stream, he's thinking about coming back. Big Wash goes on to say he doesn't want to go out a loser and was reacting emotionally because he wants to win. I agree with all that. I just don't think there's any chance in hell he's coming back. Nor do I think it's maybe as a player. Yeah, he could come back, could use another year of college, but the NBA, man, they'll take a kid like that. He'll sit on the bench 2 years and then be a superstar. I mean, it's they do their own development, right there. So maybe he says Gigi apologized. I'm fine with moving past it, but he needs to sit a game. He can't act like that with no repercussions. Well, he's made to apologize, and I'd be curious to see if he's doing some extra. What do you call them? Suicides? When you go in basketball?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, dude,
I don't know.
I threw up.
Man.
I know 76. I'm turning. I should just do the whole show in the Coach Oval. I'm probably could get there a little bit better right now. Coach O, I could do the whole show like Coach O, and probably come across a little more articulate. I'm gonna have some average jambalaya. I'm gonna sit there. My 25-year-old wife, my girlfriend. And gonna go have my own hard body contest as part of the endless summer right here on the show.
Right.
Average. Yeah, the fiance gets only.
Jambalaya is funny though.
we got to do a whole commercial of average jambalaya. I got to think about it, but it's kind of funny because sometimes I'll get up in the morning, like I get about 4, right? And I start kind of, because I don't like to do the same voice every single episode, but if I have something funny, if I can work it in, and I'll start practicing it. And I'll be walking around, brushing my teeth, getting a shower, like average jambalaya. Yeah, I'm trying to get it. Like, this is Coach O. Back to the show, And she wakes up, what the hell are you doing? It's 4:30 in the morning. That's all right. Just go back to bed. I'm about to have got to get my hard body ready. Got to warm my. Get me the tannin oil and a pound of Crisco and some crawfish, and I'm gonna cook the jambalaya right here on my hard body. Give me a pot. Give me some Old Bay. They put Old Bay. These Old Bay down there. I don't know.
On their body.
I tell you, somebody. This whole Maryland thing. Somebody. After Carolina got Nicholas veterans, after Carolina got Nicholas Harbor, some Gamecock fan, I don't remember who it was, on the Big Spur posted, Old Bay sucks.
Old Bay sucks.
Because it's Maryland. And I was like, wow, Old Bay sucks. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You all says we need Coach O for the Dowell Loggins beer commercials.
Yes. Yeah, we'll cut spoof commercials for Loggins Stout with the Coach O.
76. If we could ever have Coach O on this show, I won't say a word. I'll just let him and JC have at it.
Yeah, dueling Coach O.
I'm not getting in the middle of that. Are you kidding me?
I just want to know right now why you've been doing my voice. I don't appreciate it. We have a proud Cajun accent, JC. I'm stripping you of all your hard body titles. You can mail the belt back to me. The belt with the sunshine on it. It's the endless summer. It's like a golden sunshine. It's like a golden sunshine. It says Coach O, endless summer hard body contest champion. Somebody make a meme with me and Phil and Jamie on it, like the hard buddy. I don't know.
I don't want to be in that meme.
Look at that.
Yeah, you're gonna be. Well, you have to be. Yeah, you're part of it now, man. You gotta be.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
No.
Anyway,
I want nothing to do with any of
State. Big Watch does say Hayden Brown should have made the layup, but I agree. You know,
he's having a tough year, man.
Some good basketball players don't make layups. Aaliyah Boston missed one, cost a trip to the championship game a few years ago.
Yeah,
on the women's side, it happens, but it happens more to these guys than it should, and it's happened to Hayden Brown more than it should. So, and it's just like the Georgia game. At the end of the day, they weren't good enough. They just weren't good enough to win. They got a lot of breaks against Arkansas. Arkansas did not play particularly well. But at the end, Carolina was just not good enough to win. That's the bottom line.
And Stacy, he said, Gigi should not be punished. Paris should be for incompetence. How do you not get the ball in Gigi's hands on the last play? Again, I can't. I'm not in the locker room, and I have no direct line to Coach Paris's play calling and brain. But what he said was we drew the play up for Gigi Jackson, but it didn't get to him. So, I get it. We can blame Coach Paris for a lot of stuff. He's head coach, but if he drew the play up and the ball didn't get to him, is somebody at fault for that, or is that just really good defense? I mean, I'm sure Arkansas might have had a clue that Gigi Jackson was going to take the shot, right? I mean, that would be incompetence to think that anybody but him. Of course, I don't know. I'd let Chico Carter shoot more times than not. The dude rarely misses from outside the arc.
They can draw up one for the game winner.
How about Josh Gray's game Saturday? Who's been saying that guy's got potential? I'm not even a basketball
I would like
guy.
to see that.
Saying that for 2 years.
The verdonkulous.
I know.
Yeah,
verdonkulous. It's verdonkulous that he's playing over Josh Gray. That's just verdonkulous.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I don't know. Paris says not too bad. Tiffany asked if I can do a Christopher Walken. Yeah, just let me get my voice right because it's all I can do to say anything. JB mentions on another. How about Gino Auriemma crying about his point guard getting beat up and throwing a water bottle?
The throwing water.
I'm sorry, little Lord Fauntleroy.
But you know what, man? I love stuff like that. When I see it, like I bring back Bob Knight. The more chairs, the merrier. Like I love this stuff, man. Like coaches don't get pissed like they used to. We need pissed coaches back in the game. Like I want to see more baseball coaches get tossed. A couple years ago when King got tossed, I sent him a text. I was like, dude, that was awesome. This is my team. I talked to my team. Like when he was yelling at that umpire in Nashville. Like we need more of that. I love that stuff.
Yeah, show that passion.
I would think it would have been better if he would have, hit the official in the head with that bottle or something. Like it wouldn't have hurt.
Yeah, Bieber got a 15-yard pass. See, I would have never known that Shane Beamer in his South Carolina career would get a 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalty before Will Muschamp ever did, Steve Spurrier ever did, or Lou Holtz ever did.
Is that true?
I believe I may be a little fuzzy on Holtz that first year, but I believe that's because I know Will didn't get one until, year 3 because he got 2 in the last game he coached at Auburn, which is an epic Will Muschamp meltdown. It's the worst. It's worse than anything he did at Florida. And I think he knew he was leaving, and he was just like, "The hell with this! I'm going out in a blaze of glory." And it's funny because you see T-Rob there, like dragging him off, and Gus Malzahn's just like, "Well, shoot, golly shucks, I didn't know this guy." I mean, but and it was 2 15-yard penalties. And Bama kicked a field goal, and it took him from a 6-point lead to a 9-point lead. And then it didn't. I don't think it cost Auburn the game because Auburn wasn't good enough that year, right? But it was an epic meltdown, and he came back for more. I mean, after the first meltdown, then they kicked then Bama kicks another field goal, and then he comes back out for more.
I almost wonder if, like, when Coach Muschamp became the head coach at Florida and became the head coach here, like he, in trying to be the role model for your program, understandably so, kind of dialed it back. I almost wonder how much that really affected him. Like that's not him, you know. He was like, if you want to let it fly, Will, let it fly. You know, I mean, if that's you and you want your team to take on your personality like his defenses usually do, let it fly.
He was very, very reserved at Carolina, and then I think that's kind of part of, you know, getting the job. But,
yeah.
You know, yeah. So that was, he was a little more reserved. All right, I guess we got to hit another break, folks. Shout out to Express Sunrooms, and don't forget Keith at the top of the hour. And I apologize for my voice again. We'll be back after these messages as the show rolls on.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Easy. He's got a tiger by the tail, he has.
He'd better hang on, too.
People have spoken. Nana's Porch was voted the third best food truck or trailer by the Charlotte newspaper Public Poll. Also, their pimento cheese took third in a contest exclusively for products made in the state of North Carolina. I will let Noah Hall tell you about the rest. Nana's Porch, Southern cuisine with an uptown twist.
We're well into the new year, and the days of being back in the pool and boat are quickly approaching. Many of us don't have the time to hit the gym, but Charleston Fitness Equipment can change that for you. Outfit your home with a treadmill, elliptical, or my favorite, a home rower that allows you to row with the pros all over the world. They have free weights, home gyms, flooring, and much more that makes keeping or getting in shape much more convenient. Located in Mount Pleasant, visit charlestonfitnessequipment.com for more. Get in shape like our Gamecocks. Charleston Fitness Equipment, proud partners of Inside the Gamecocks.
Gamecock Nation, do you need a place to stay for the big game? Many hotel booking engines keep all the commissions, but at Fan Plans, you support Inside the Gamecocks, still earn your hotel loyalty points, and you receive an email with direct confirmation from the hotel. Whether you are visiting Columbia to cheer on Carolina or hitting the road to follow the team, get in the stands with Fan Plans.
Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it, let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
This is Coach O. Now back to the show. Go Tigers in LaSalle.
Welcome back, everybody. Inside the Gamecocks, the show is presented to you by Express Sunrooms of Columbia. Give John and his team a call or shoot him an email, 803-446-4662, or John B. at expresssunrooms.com to set up an appointment to talk about potentially enclosing a porch or patio for you. And, of course, first hour of the show brought to you by Cindy Searfoss and the Coldwell Banker Kane Realty team here in the Upstate. Give Cindy a call, 864-414-5271 for your Upstate residential real estate needs. I like JC Bruin asking about pimento cheese here. Do you really like the pimento cheese?
I like pimento cheese in general. I mean,
oh yeah.
Can't get it up here in Chicago. It's not very good. But there's what's that stuff called? They got canceled because of something. I don't remember what exactly they did, but it's called palmetto cheese. They make it on Pawleys Island.
It didn't get canceled.
They took it out of Costco for some reason.
Oh well,
it was Wagner.
I buy about 3 of them a week.
Something happened. I can't get it out of state anymore. I used to get it in Nashville and all over. I'd go to like Costco and load up and. I was like, do you like it or not? Nah, everything in Nana's Porch tastes good. Everything. So that's a legit, So I don't know. Other news: Tommy Reese and Kevin Steele.
I think those are both upgrades for them for Alabama.
Yeah.
What do you think? You don't agree? Yeah. From Pete Golding? I think so.
you do make a good point there. And coaching Alabama talent's coaching Alabama talent.
Yeah.
And he's been with Saban before. I think it's the third time working for Nick. Tommy Rees was an interesting hire, and I do think Tommy's a good play caller. I think we saw that in the bowl game, right?
Mm-hmm.
As far as finding matchups to exploit.
Yeah.
Because Notre Dame was very masterful in finding, okay, this guy hadn't played a whole lot. Let's go after him on the field. They did a really good job of that, I thought, in the bowl game. So,
yeah, I like
it's different
it a
because
lot.
Reese is a Notre Dame lifer, so he's about to go. It's a different world working for Nick Saban than it is for Marcus Freeman.
Well, what does that tell you real
Brian
quick?
Kelly, maybe. Huh?
What does that tell you real quick? So he's a Notre Dame lifer. All right. He's and clearly they just made a hire up there with Freeman. Right. So Freeman's a new head coach 1 year in, and you're Reese, you're calling plays at your alma mater, but you're going to leave and go call plays at Alabama. Why?
I think because, okay, so the Marcus Freeman thing at Notre Dame can go one of two ways. Either he's going to win and stay for a long, long time, or he's going to lose and get fired. You're going to get thrown out with him. I think the latter, well, we'll see how they do this year, right? But they also had Sam Hartman coming in at quarterback, JB. I mean, it wasn't Notre Dame's going to probably be top 5-10 team next year. But I think, too, if you're at Alabama, sometimes that jump to a head coaching job is a little bit easier. And if you're trying to hedge your bets and your dream is to coach at Notre Dame or in the Big Ten or have a big-time head coaching job, it's going to be a lot easier for you to do that coming from Alabama, either back to Notre Dame or somewhere else, than it is to be there if things go bad or exceptionally good or they stay mediocre. I think that's the logic probably there. But it was an interesting hire. And I think it also tells me Alabama's about to start running the football more again.
Who are the last 3 OCs at Bama? O'Brien,
Sark,
and
Lane Kiffin.
Mm-hmm.
All 3 who were rejuvenating their careers. Saban takes a different road this time with a kid who's building his. Now he's not going to the Nick Saban School of Coaching Rehab. He's going to the Career Advancement School of Nick Saban, not the, hey, help me get back on my feet like the rest of these cats.
Yeah, and I think when you watch Notre Dame's offense, they put up points on the board. Steal. Yeah, I don't know. I think Nick Saban's about to take back over that defense.
That's what my immediate thought was, like, oh, Nick's going back. He's going to run the thing. He's just got to get
I think that's interesting. But with Tommy Rees, I think they're going to. I think Alabama's about to start. I mean, people don't. They'll have a new starter quarterback next year, but also you have Richard Young and Justice Haynes coming in at running back. Those two guys are special. Freshman guys at that position. Their offensive line has a lot of people coming back, even though they lost some backups. And then, of course, the infamous Javion Cohen. How many? If you total up Javion Cohen's like schools he was committed to, plus now his second school he's played at, he could end up at 10 schools. Or affiliated with 10 schools.
Isn't he the one that asked for like $500,000 and for Saban to pay for his girlfriend's grad school?
I'm pretty sure it was him. JC Saul corrected me. Dable was offensive coordinator after Kiffin and before Sark.
Ryan
That's
Dable.
right. Because Sark, well, kind of. Yeah. Well, because Sark called the championship game, then went to the Falcons, and then Dable was there for 2017. Dable was quite good. Dable was quite good.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Tiffany says it's a South Carolina show, but JC is connected as they come. The U has to replace their DC and OC. Any smoke about replacements? Well, they have Charlie Strong already there. I would give it to Charlie if he's willing to take it. OC, your guess is as good as mine because no matter what they've done down there, it's sucked bad. And there's no excuse for sucking on offense if you're the University of Miami. but they seem to want to still marry this old timey Dennis Erickson style offense with their personnel, and it doesn't work. I would go, if I were them, who goes extremely fast like Tennessee did, and I would because they're always going to have speed at Miami, right? It makes no sense to line up in the eye and try to play that way. I would make the other team puke. Honestly, I would go as fast as I possibly could down there. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I
would agree with that.
So anyway,
whatever. Now this is
it's whoever John Ruiz wants. Sorry.
Well, this is that's true. This is why this program is quickly approaching elite status. Tiffany, if we had to rank the best the best interaction or the best fan or whatever, best audience member, Tiffany's got a very much so increasing shot at being ranked number 1 here. She just dropped the whatever happened to Brian Van Gorder. I think she spelled it brain, but I think he's coaching high school football. I know he had been at Bowling Green. Remember, he was at Louisville for like a year, and then he went to Bowling Green, and then he was gone. I think he's coaching high school football somewhere. I've heard that, but I don't know where. Yeah, he was a guy, man, he was like the hottest name in the country at one point in time, or one of them. And then
he was in South Carolina
2019.
About 30 hours.
Yeah.
Brian Van Gorder messed up. He got anxious. Sometimes when you take jobs you should not take, he took the Georgia Southern job and then tried to rearrange things down there, and that did not work.
Not at all.
And then he's with the Falcons as a linebackers coach, and then he comes to South Carolina for 30 days. He's back with the Falcons as DC, gets fired there, comes to Auburn for a year. Was it Notre Dame?
He is in high school now. I just looked it up.
Yeah, down in Florida at a private school. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, American Heritage. Have you heard of that, JC? American Heritage School
in Plantation. Yeah.
Yep.
He was at Gulf Shores in Alabama. Gulf Shores.
Yeah.
That'd be IE. Yeah, he went to the beach house after his Bowling Green stint.
Yeah, that's
right. Yeah, man. I mean, this guy has been all over the place. Was really, really good at Georgia. I think he had some moments at Notre Dame too.
This picture of him from the Jets can't be real. With the mustache and the porn fro and all this stuff. There's no way.
Dude, that's his look, man.
This has got to be. Yeah, hold on.
Oh my God!
You can't not Van Gorder's look.
That's
like he's there to
right there.
It's like he's there to fix. Like he's there to fix the cable.
Bill, can
he's
you
there to
pop
fix
that up
the
on the
cable?
screen?
Yep, I am pulling that up right now.
You can take me off of it if you want to. There's no way.
There we are.
It's got to be that. It's got.
Yes.
Dude, that's gorgeous.
That is glorious. Yes,
that is
he
an amazing
He is coming
picture.
to fix the cable while your wife is there at home.
He's got his tool belt.
Oh, yeah.
What you want? Would you like? Would you like some lemonade?
Oh, that is.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, man. I just need to.
Somebody, JC, send Tiffany a Bucky's hat or something for her taking this thing to the next level.
Oh yeah, I got some. I got your address now, Tiffany. I'll definitely send you something.
Don't give Van Gorder her address.
Oh, I love this, Ryan Peterson. Yeah, this is great. Yeah, my band screams, "I blitz."
I blitz. It's gold.
Love it.
Those of you asking about Dante Reno changing schools, yes, he's changing schools. I think I talked to Brian Doan the other day. It has something to do with him being able to enroll early, and so that's happened. I'm sorry. Easy the Goat says Brinkley's son to see if you're going to go all in on him. We need 3 or 4 edge type players in this class. I agree. I don't know. I need to ask about him. I haven't heard much about him. I thought he would have been a no-brainer because he's good and he's Jasper's kid. I mean, I don't know what the holdup is on him.
They live in Texas, right? The Brinkleys?
They do, but South Carolina recruits Texas as much as they've ever have now,
Right.
I don't.
Yeah.
But Jab's kid is kind of a tweener guy. You don't really know if he's going to be a linebacker or an edge. A lot like Casper maybe. So I get it if they're waiting to bring him to camp, but I'll tell you, if they do bring him to camp and they offer with Beamer here, I think they'll have a good shot at landing him without question. He's a guy I expected to hear more about at this point, to be honest. But of course, there's a wave of 2024 recruiting stuff happening. We didn't even mention Mazio Bennett at the top of the show.
Right.
Yeah.
Just got lost in all the other names.
Committed.
That's right.
Another good, yeah. So I guess Blake Franks, Kelvin Hunter, and Josiah Thompson are like the three on deck from the state. And then if Carolina gets all three of those, they're pretty much done in-state recruiting for 2024 already.
Well, and JC, one of the things that Phil and I mentioned on Friday was the last 2 years under Coach Beamer, June and July have been head-wringing months with commitment. I mean, you're getting a welcome home seemingly every 10 minutes, it felt like. We're months from June, and this they could have 7 or 8, 9, 10 commitments maybe before you get there. And we know that they've designed their summer camps and stuff just to ring the bell constantly. I mean, we could get to football season and have a boatload of kids in this class. I would not put it past them for that to happen. And as you mentioned, a lot of this, if you can hang on to them, would be wrapped up pretty early.
Yeah, and I think it's good to build that base and get everything, squared away and rocking and rolling and good to go. I think, as Beamer says, it starts in state. You're not going to be as good as you could be at South Carolina without getting, your share and more of the in-state talent. But then you also look at it, 2 4-stars from Georgia, and Dante Reno, who's kind of the Pied Piper of the class, and you want that out of your quarterback. It's ranked 6th in the country right now. Probably will move on up, and you want to stack talent on top of talent on top of talent, and I think that every year, and I do take exception. Andrew Urbans from 24/7 did make a comment that I think requires a little more research on his part. He mentioned how in 2021, worst recruiting class ever signed in the SEC ever because of the rankings. Never mind. Nobody's thinking about the dang formula, right? I mean, I was there when they created the formula, okay? It's designed to say, if you don't have any 5-stars and you don't have any 4-stars, which I don't think they did, and then transfers that year did not count, okay, and you sign less than 15 guys, your class is going to rank below because it's on a curve. Everything's on a curve, right, where your higher-rated guys count more. It's a completely disingenuous comment if you watch the video on Big Spurs. Well, no, they signed like 15 guys. No, they didn't. They signed 10 out of high school. And in 2021, I'll remind everybody. So you tell me if you think, because when you're talking about the worst recruiting class in the history of the SEC, and you say that at the beginning, you must be Nostradamus, okay? Must be Nostradamus. So you tell me TJ Sanders isn't a good player. Omega Blake hadn't left yet. He's still got a chance. Juju McDowell's in this class. Colby Fields went to LSU. I mean, he wasn't that bad. Nick Barrett, he's coming along pretty well. You have some other guys that hit the portal. John Darius Morgan is still there. And you really only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 high school guys in the entire class. Rest were JUCOs and portal guys. And they didn't count them. So that ranking's BS. My point is, 2021, they did the best they could. And you also had Debo Williams, Jordan Strong, David Spalding, Amarian Brown, Zeb Nolan, Carlos Patel, BJ Gibson, all in the portal that year. So you got some good players. So I took exception with that. But the rest of his point was valid because he said, well, then they signed a better class the next year and then the next year, and you're stacking talent on top of talent. And that's what you have to do. I felt for 2023, The idea was sign more blue chip guys out of high school. Not, you don't have to sign as many as they did for it to be a success, in my opinion, but sign more blue chip guys. And lo and behold, they did. Well, now you go to 2024. I think recruiting a class that's, dominate the state, win your battles out of state, and increase that blue chip number again. And I think they're well on their way, guys. I mean, 5 commits. You have a guy that's going to be a 5-star. You have 2 4-stars out of Georgia. You got Mazio Bennett, the top receiver. One of the things that needs to happen around here, Carolina needs to start getting the top receivers from the state again, because that's been something that's escaped them. Well, here you go. Here's the guy, and he's from Greenville High School. And then a strong arm quarterback who, may have as good of an arm as anybody in the country. So this 5-person class, and you build it out to 7, 8, 9, like Jamie mentioned, by the time May gets here, that's a hell of a start. And
yeah.
I think there's just so much enthusiasm now with a lot of these guys. And I talked too long there. I apologize.
Well, there's enthusiasm about Phil's brother, Keith, because he's coming up next. They look literally exactly like
Philodomer. That's
right. And Garrett, these 4th and 5th rated recruits in South Carolina, I have no idea who's doing this or who's deciding this. I mean, it's composite, so it's around the industry. But Troy Stevens is 160 pounds. Okay, I like Trayvon Dunbar a lot, but he's also super, super small. Okay, so I don't know the answer as to why Dunbar and Stevenson are ranked higher. I mean, who did Stevenson get an offer from? What's the big name school that went and offered him? I have no idea.
I know. I think Notre Dame has offered him.
Well, Notre Dame offered him should not mean a damn thing, in my opinion. LSU's offered him.
I know Penn State offered him, but
how many of these are
Carolina offered him.
Legit? I just there's a reason South Carolina has not gone on him. Okay, and everybody else is welcome to their opinion. Maybe he ends up being a great player, but I'm going with Torian Gray over all these guys when it comes to D-backs. Sorry. So we got to get a break. My bad.
All right. We'll be right back. Hour 2 coming up. Electric Bikes of Charleston offers the most fun you'll ever have on 2 wheels. The home of Ovington, Velotric, Magnum Bikes, and more, they sell to consumers all across the state and offer outstanding warranties and service after the sale. Their electric bikes are equipped with 5 levels of pedal assist plus a throttle, so you can ride longer, handle the heat better, but still get great exercise. Bikes are available for all ages and sizes. Visit electricbikescharleston.com or stop into their store in Mount Pleasant if you're in the Low Country. Electric Bikes of Charleston, powering inside the Gamecocks, the show. The real estate market has changed dramatically from just a year ago. Rates, supply, demand, all of your traditional factors are in a transition phase. That's why if you or someone you know are considering making a move in the Low Country, contact me, JB, at Coast to Coast Realty. I work with an outstanding support cast of attorneys, lenders, inspectors, insurance agents, and more, all of whom are valuable in helping find a way for you to comfortably make your real estate decision. That's right, call me, JB, your Low Country real estate broadcaster. Golfers and wannabe golfers, former Gamecock golfer Meredith Taylor is now a full-time golf instructor in the Midlands of South Carolina. In-person golf lessons are held at the Country Club of Lexington, half-hour, on course 9 or 18 holes. And if you're outside of South Carolina, Meredith conducts virtual lessons. Just send in your golf swing for analysis. Gift cards are available for in-person 1-hour lessons. Connect on Twitter at Mayor Taylor and find her online at McKellarEnterprises.org. Her email is on the website. Schedule your next lesson today with Meredith Taylor, former Gamecock golfer.
You're tuned into Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
Sideline is picked off. Brad Edwards will get a convoy. Touchdown, South Carolina.
Spurs. You ain't just a bird. You're top of the coop, star of the show. You're a rooster who was born a pro. Well, I bet you wonder when you win or lost a step or two.
Welcome back to Inside the Gamecocks, the show, everybody. Presented to you by Express Sunrooms of Columbia. Give John a call, 803-446-4662. to set up an appointment to talk about what he can do to bring some sunshine into your home. And we are joined now by Keith Allsep of Locked on the Gamecocks for now, about to be Gamecock Pod Daily and Gamecock Pod Live on the McKellar Enterprises guest line. Welcome in, fellow Domer Keith.
Hey guys, I didn't realize today we would be joined by Alvin and it would be Alvin and the Chipmunks that I would be joining.
The Chipmunk.
I saw JC with a Bucky's hoodie on. That's a
we went all in on the gear, man. We got all in on the gear.
Did you get a brisket sandwich?
Yes, heading down, I did. And going back, I did as well. And also ate. Also,
would have been remiss to pass up on another brisket sandwich.
Also ate at the Beacon in Spartanburg while I was in Spartanburg. It was crazy. Call it. I ran into
chili cheese and plenty. Walking.
I met my mom there. Right, she came over from Greenville. And
that's where you met your mother.
I mean, for the first time, that's where you met your mom at the Beacon.
Yeah, she put her legs up on top of the gigantic chili pot in the stirrups and dropped me out into the chili pot, and that's why I came into the world. Hey, God, I came out going, call it.
Yeah, that's right. If you were breached, that wouldn't have been the first time you'd worn a beaver hat.
I actually ran into my buddy Kevin Clary. I don't know if you guys have ever heard me talk about my older friend and the older dude in college. He was 24. We were 21. And so we're always Kevin Clary's 175 years old. And just happened to be in town and at the Beacon at the same time I was. It was amazing. And no, Jan, I didn't make it to Ike's. It was a real quick trip in and out. We were kind of time, and I wanted Nat to see the Beacon because Wade's is closed for some reason on Saturdays. So anyway, there you go.
And y'all went to Gatlinburg. I mean, this turned into a nice little trip for you.
Well, shave 3 hours in the worst part of that drive off. The worst part of that drive is in between I-40 between Pigeon Forge and Asheville. That's the worst part of the whole drive from Chicago down there. So yeah, we did. So it was a lot of fun. Anyway, Keith, welcome in, man. We talked about GG Jackson's comments, and I guess we're gonna roll that right over the top and get your take on that. I'm sure you have an opinion. What say you about the Instagram Live gate after the game?
Well, I think he's definitely frustrated. He's 18. And he's playing for a guy that's now blown 2 SEC win opportunities. Yes, this is a historically bad roster, but at Georgia, you had a double-digit lead. Okay, coaching is the most relevant when the talent is comparable or the games are close. All right, and so we don't need to relitigate that, but the last minute and 19 seconds of the Arkansas game, Lamont Paris showed every critic and everybody watching that game why he should not be the coach at the University of South Carolina, because it was coaching malpractice. There are these things that teams practice beginning in October, now the 1st of October, called end of game situations, time and score situations. Okay, you have plays for everything. Hey, what if we're down by 2 with 4 seconds to go and we got 2 timeouts? Well, we probably want to throw it to the 7-foot, 270-pound guy on the other side of midcourt and immediately call timeout, and then be able to have a chance to run a play and get a catch, one dribble and shoot, or maybe we throw it up again to the 7 foot, 270 pound guy at the rim. All right, so with 1:25 to go, South Carolina had the lead 63-62. Arkansas came down and immediately scored. I mean, the guy was a chair might as well have been guarding him. Okay. Then my man Musselman, whose wife is a double 5-star, calls timeout. So, and it's a TV timeout. So Lamont Paris with 1:19 to go, he gets almost 4 minutes to talk about what they're going to do during the last minute and 19 seconds, what they're going to do on that possession. What are we going to do? Make or miss? What are we going to run? They come out and they run a play, side screen and roll, and G.G. Jackson acted like he had never set a screen in his life. I mean, you have to be clear on that. You, quite frankly, that should be one of your favorite plays that you're running. It should be something you've ran at the end of practice so many times, it's muscle memory. Instead, it was a horrible play and a turnover because G.G. Jackson just hopped out of the way right into the guy while G.G. was still dribbling. So there's that. Josh Gray makes a great play at the rim, causes the guy to miss. They come down, and with 33 seconds to go, Michi launches about a 29-footer. He almost hit it, missed. 25.1 seconds to go. South Carolina fouls. They still have 3 timeouts left. They didn't decide to freeze the shooter with a timeout, which they could have. That's okay. They missed the 1-and-1. Michi dribbles to half court. They call timeout. Now they have 2 timeouts left with 19.5 seconds to go. And they're still down by 1 point. You don't need a 3, but you want so they come out and Josh Gray gets the outlet. And so the way it's drawn up, it's kind of like a 2-1-2 setup. And Hayden Brown is in the middle of the floor. Michi's in the deep left corner, and G.G. Jackson's in the deep right corner. G.G. Jackson never moved. I'm pretty sure if a play would have been for him, he probably would have moved. So Michi runs up. They can't get it to him. Josh Gray, he had slid up into the middle. Hayden Brown had kind of taken Michi's place, and he makes a great backdoor cut. And the announcer said it was a really tough look. It was not contested on the other side of the rim. Okay. But he missed it, like I've seen him miss at least a dozen times. Okay. So neither one of your best 2 players touch it there. I don't know why. Again, to me, it's probably something that they were just running for the first time. So, but you still got 2 timeouts. You foul Arkansas. They hit one, and they split the 1-and-1. You call timeout immediately with 2.2 seconds to go. And so now you still have 1 timeout. So now you want to throw it to the 7 foot, 270 pound guy who's bigger than anybody Arkansas has got, and probably have him immediately call timeout in front of your bench. Well, I guess they hadn't practiced any of that because Lamont Paris has to burn both timeouts. So now you've got 2.2 seconds to go the length of the floor and get a shot with no timeouts. And you know what? They got it to Josh Gray, but then they couldn't get it to anybody else, and he had to shoot a 3. So why the hell didn't you save a timeout, throw it to Josh Gray, call timeout, and like I said, it's 2.2. Maybe there's 1.5 to 1.7 seconds. You could even get a catch and maybe 2 dribbles and a shot in that amount of time. And good teams, end of game situations, it's just they know them like the back of their hand. This team, this coach looked lost. I mean, out in like Naked and Afraid or whatever that show is, lost.
God.
I mean, lost. And that's 2 games, Lamont Paris. To me, it's on him. Granted, he doesn't have great players. But when you do have Josh Gray, who had a career game and who is getting better and is a guy that I've always been high on, and you have Gigi Jackson and Michi Johnson, you ought to be able to get something better than what they got during that sequence, which I just thought was god awful. And I'm just throwing those notes away.
All right, so let's separate the apples and the oranges here real quick, because you've hit on a lot of stuff here. So first of all, Keith, you said something that I've said this a lot this year, and I say this without a ton of insight and knowledge, so I want to make sure that everybody always understands that this is an opinion, and it's a very loose opinion because I don't really know, but it has appeared often, as I have spoken with those who know more than I do about the great game of basketball, that this team is just not well coached. And it's not just this game or two games like you mentioned. I've seen it a lot this year. When they were here in Charleston in the Classic, we watched teams do workarounds, the Gamecocks. A bunch of guys, they can move the ball. They got the ball up the floor, pass, take a good shot, hit it. And Carolina just continuously looked lost. What are the reasons for that? Is it because there's a bunch of guys that have never played together? Is it because of coaching? I'm sure there's a lot that goes into it. I don't know. So that's the apples in this basket. But the oranges, though, are in the other basket, which is reverting back to JC's question, which was, what Gigi said. My personal feel on this, Keith, with Gigi, I don't agree with it, but I don't agree with it for this reason. Because this program has a long way to go. And we all know what happens when these types of things get out into the public. They take on a life of their own. You get water cooler talk. You get Barstool Sports. You get some station out in Seattle that picks it up. And nobody ever knows the real story because that's how America works. They read the headlines. Gigi Jackson turns into a prima donna. South Carolina basketball is trash. And then the rest is history. And that's where I stand on it. I'm like, I don't want, not just Gigi, I don't want to see any kid doing things like this, because the headlines are what take over and there's no context that comes with that. Does that make sense?
JB, I totally agree. But Gigi Jackson also talked about how much he loved his teammates.
Absolutely. And
how
that's my point.
he was to the program, how
you're making
even
the point.
Considering coming back.
Right.
But here's the thing. In the world in which we live today, I mean, like that kid, he has somebody running his social media platforms during games.
Right.
Okay. He has a whether it's somebody in his family or whoever, he has a marketing team. I mean, hell, Nicholas Harbor had a marketing team that basically tried to convince him to go to Oregon, at least somebody in that marketing team. And in the world of social media, like I'm with you, I'm old school, okay? You keep it in the locker room. But these kids, they don't think that because they're basically committed to themselves and their brand because they play hundreds of AAU basketball games that are all meaningless.
Well, that's true.
There's nobody crying or laying on the floor at the end of an AAU game.
That's a great point.
Dude, that's
okay. When Duke in North Carolina
used
to play, or NC State, or the Gamecocks under McGuire and Fogler. Remember when I think Melvin Watson missed that shot
against Alabama.
NIT shot.
Yeah,
Man,
I was at that game.
he was devastated, right? And I just don't think we see that anymore. I mean, even after the biggest NBA games, which is the best basketball in the world, whether people, some demographics don't like it, and that's okay, but it is. 10 seconds after the game, unless it's LeBron who lays on the floor like he got beat to death with a baseball bat at the end of the Celtics game and laid on the floor for 4.5 minutes wondering why he didn't get a call. Outside of that, 5 seconds after the horn goes off, guys are smiling and hugging. Even the guys that lose, they're laughing and smiling and talking to the winners. We never used to see that. By the way, great shot to bring me in with the 87 South Carolina Clemson game. Here's a little factoid. It's the first time South Carolina and Clemson ever played at night, and I was there, and it was colder than the well digger's ass.
Kind of like JC.
That was the first night game in the history. I remember the room talking. I think Ron Franklin and Kevin Kiley called that game.
That is correct.
I think.
I think I still have a DVD of that somewhere.
I watched it on the big screen.
Not a DVD. I'm sorry. A VHS.
From the Nana Sports chat box, Matthew, you ask about Tonka Hemingway NIL deal. I think he does have one with the other collective, just to kind of clear that up. Well, Keith Mazio Bennett adds another big-time in-state recruit to the 2024 Gamecock class. I lived in some condos right beside Serene Stadium. I know what's around Serene Stadium. I know what's around Greenville High. I know what the influence is there. It's not garnet and black, even though their colors are red and black. I think the Gamecocks are getting Blake Franks too. What does that say about the Gamecocks in-state recruiting momentum with the staff under Shane Beamer? That they got Mazio. I know they didn't have to beat Clemson, Mazio, but Franks has a Clemson offer. Your thoughts about that?
I don't know why. I mean, why would you take that kid from Greenville this year? I mean, maybe because they know they can't get Mazio, right? Like his sister works with Jessica Jackson in the recruiting department at South Carolina. Maybe that's why, because they knew they couldn't get him. But he's a lot better than that guy. I think it's huge. As far as Blake Franks goes, to me, that's the one to really put an asterisk by if that happens. And I just think, you had Robbie Caldwell there for a long time, and no offense against Thomas Austin. I'm sure he's a good coach, and I had great respect for him as a player at Clemson. But Lonnie Teasley is a secret weapon when it comes to offensive line recruiting.
Yeah.
And you have the combination of both Teasley and Greg Adkins, who's still there, with Dowell Loggins, who's a likable guy with a lot of NFL coaching experience. And I think for the first time since the Spurrier era, we're going to see this cycle where South Carolina beats Clemson on multiple players. Okay, you already beat them on Cam Pringle. If you beat them on Blake Franks, that's another one. Josiah Thompson. Okay, I don't know if they're going to go on Kelvin Hunter or not. He's a huge Gamecock lead as well, and a guy that's a big-time safety, a little undersized, but still at 5'11", 180. It's really good, and I'm really fired up about it.
Yeah. this staff is collectively what they're doing. You know what's amazing is when you listen to a lot of the staffers talk, a lot of the coaches who are actually recruiting, they all kind of sound the same. You know, like if you ever notice that, Jody Wright and Lonnie Teasley and now Coach Loggins and I mean Step and Sterling Lucas and just a lot of these, when you listen to them talk, there's not a, I wouldn't call them big personalities. I'd call them big people. Like they're very connected in the conversation that they're having. I think Shane knows exactly what he's looking for when it comes to recruiting, and a lot of these guys have a lot of similarities when it comes to relating with a kid and his parents and his families and all the different people you got to interact with to recruit these days.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt about it. There's great synergy with this staff, and I think now really you only have the one Yankee and Pete Limbo, and Pete Limbo,
he's the outlier.
Yeah. He's the biggest probably personality of all of them. And there's no better coach in America at what they do than Pete Limbo. Yeah. Nobody gets better buy-in. Nobody has the diversity of packages. There's no unit offensively or defensively in the country better coached than South Carolina special teams. That's just a fact.
Yeah, they're outstanding. What do we have, Phil? What do we have? 12:30 on Keith. 12:30.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Hey, so I would like to comment on Gino slamming the water bottle.
Yeah, we're about to get to you on the women's game. First of all, you know what South Carolina continues to do on the women's side of hoops, and then also, if you don't mind, fill us in on what you've got coming soon with Locked On the Gamecocks.
Well, definitely. So, number one, if Dawn Staley walks out on the floor at Storrs, Connecticut, and slams a water bottle, she's getting run. Any other coach in America would have automatically been ejected. Okay, I think that official, number one, that crew was god-awful. Number two, South Carolina could not have played a worse first half. At halftime, Aaliyah Boston and Zia Cook are combined 0 for 13 from the field. No made field goals, and the game is tied. Gino knew an ass whipping was coming. Okay. Everybody wants to talk about Aaliyah Edwards versus Aaliyah Boston, and Aaliyah Edwards is just as good as Aaliyah Boston. Number one, Aaliyah Boston, I don't think guarded her one possession. Okay. She guarded Dorka Uhas, who was 2 for 9 from the field in 38 minutes and had 5 points. Aaliyah Boston was double and triple teamed every possession, and she put her team on her back in the second half and scored 23 points on 8 of 11 from the field and 5 of 6 from the free throw line, and hit a dagger 3 that put the Gamecocks up by 10 and essentially sealed it before they called that weak sauce technical on Cardoso, who also had a great game. She played big. 6 of 9 from the field, 5 of 6 from the free throw line, 17 points, 11 rebounds. And then Gino gets pissed off about Nika Mule, who's his point guard. Well, dude, Raven Hollywood Johnson played 36 minutes. Like, she played every minute of that game after she entered in the first quarter for Kiera Fletcher. All she did on the biggest stage in the biggest game she's ever played in was lead her team to victory by scoring 14 points, by playing great defense, and by having 7 assists and 0 turnovers.
Yeah.
In 36 minutes. Okay. Aaliyah Edwards, yes, she scored 25 points against Victoria Saxton and against Cardoso because they played off. And she was never double teamed one time the entire game, single coverage, because Dawn Staley said, you're not beating me from 3. Gino said they have to hit at least 10 3-pointers to beat South Carolina. They only got 6 attempts in the entire game from 3. So that tells you where the focus of the game plan was. Aaliyah Boston, guys, is double and triple teamed on every possession and is the entire focal point of every opponent's defensive game plan. And she's still a walking double-double. And against ranked opponents for her career, I think she averages 19 and 12.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. By the way, you mentioned turnovers. How about this number, 6? That's all that South Carolina had as a team on the road against the top 5 program in UConn. With that 15,000 people yelling, Dawn's ladies
had a whiteout.
Basketball. Yeah.
I thought we might have been at Penn State for a minute. Hey, how about this stat? Gino Auriemma, the legendary recruiter. Now, look, let's face it, UConn's best 2 players did not play. Paige Beckers and AZ Fudd. AZ has battled injuries. Paige, tore ACL in the preseason. She's out. So it's still the first time South Carolina has ever won at UConn, and they get to exercise that demon of missing like 3 layups at the end of regulation that would have won the game, and then losing in overtime when Paige Beckers threw up about a 25-footer at the end of the shot clock that hit the back of the rim and bounced up above the backboard, way above the backboard, and went in. Mm-hmm. So, but a great win. And so now on Super Bowl Sunday, Stanford lost again, their 3rd loss. ESPN, 2 o'clock, the only 2 undefeated teams in the country, the only 2 female coaches in the country with multiple national championships, number 1 versus number 2, sold out Colonial Life Arena, South Carolina, LSU, class versus no class. Dawn Staley versus the trailer park lady. I can't wait.
Trailer park, Little Miss Muffet.
Coming up. Yeah, that'll be good. By the way, who's your pick for the Super Bowl? Chiefs, Eagles.
Man.
You going with Dawn? You going with Dawn's Eagles?
I mean, I really don't have a dog in the hunt. I would be thrilled for both organizations to win it. Thrilled for Jalen Hurts. You know, when they drafted in the 2nd round, everybody graded the pick as an F and, heaped cow dung all over it and said he'll never play. He's a running back or whatever. But I mean, how can you root against Andy Reid and the Chiefs? I mean, Andy Reid, if the Chiefs get this one, I mean, they're not going anywhere. I mean, I know everybody calls Belichick the GOAT, but over the course of the next 3 to 4 years, if the Chiefs get a couple more, you got to really consider Andy Reid doing it with multiple franchises. I mean, hell, he went to the Super Bowl with Donovan McNabb, who completed about 52%.
Yeah. And everything he's gone through personally is just amazing.
Right. I mean, the personal tragedies. I mean, hell, I just love seeing him when he was like 14 in the punt, pass, and kick competition. You ever seen that video? They got everybody lined up, and there's Andy Reid, who's about a foot taller and probably 70 pounds heavier than anybody else out there in the punt, pass, and kick competition.
We'll have to check that out.
So real quick, I mentioned it last week because of that other network deal, and JB, I know we talked about it off the air. We're rebranding. We will go live with Gamecock Pod Live on February 15th. But the rebranding will officially begin that week on Monday, the 13th. My show will become known as Gamecock Pod Daily. And then on Wednesday, right after your show, for the first show, we got Michael W. Bratton. That will be live streamed on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. My man Chris Payne has generously offered to also sponsor our chat box. And then on the 22nd of February, we'll have 24/7 Sports National College Football writer Brad Crawford joining the show. So we're trying to line up guests and promote. Hopefully we can get some carryover and some synergy. And after you guys sign off, guys that don't want to stop listening to Gamecock Sports won't have to, and just flip YouTube channels and there will be.
Wonderful. Can't wait. Looking
just
forward
on
to
Wednesday though. That will, and it'll still go up in podcast form. That was always my free show. And so, with the rebranding and everything else, we're just trying to make some big things happen in 2023 like the Gamecocks are.
Yep. National champions coming up in baseball, going to the playoffs in football. And the track team is also going to win a national championship this year. So looking forward to the next few months. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Sweet. All right, Keith. Thanks, man.
Hey, JC, get better, man. Get some honey.
Yeah.
And hot tea with some honey and lemon, and maybe a little Mr. John Daniels.
Yeah.
I know his brother Jack. I know his brother Jack pretty well.
Well, I would, call him Jack, but when you know him as long as I have, call him
John.
Yeah. See you, Keith.
Keith. Be good, man. Be good.
Keith. And on that note, everybody, we're going to take a break, and we will see you right back after these messages.
Just as your State Farm agent combines good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates, you can combine your home, auto, life, or small business insurance with Tony Pope State Farm Insurance today. And guess what you'll get? That's right, even more good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates. In fact, Tony Pope State Farm is your go-to agent anywhere in South Carolina, North Carolina, or Georgia for the service you deserve at the price you want. So try combining your home, life, auto, and or small business insurance today. Tony Pope State Farm has been in business for more than 30 years and can handle anything you need in the tri-state area. Once again, Tony Pope State Farm will help you mix and match perfectly. Call 843-851-2222 or visit TonyPope.com today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
If you're in the upstate of South Carolina and are in need of residential real estate services, Cindy Bass Searfoss of Caldwell Banker Kane is for you. Ask her about the Village at Creekside, all of her listings in my hometown of Spartanburg, South Carolina, right there on Daniel Morgan Avenue, married to a lifelong Gamecock fan. And many of our listeners have already bought homes from her and been 100% satisfied with the detail and care she uses. Cindy Searfoss, 864-414-5271, Caldwell Banker Kane in the upstate for your real estate needs.
Are you looking to buy a new home? Kevin O'Connell with Union Home Mortgage is a local mortgage expert and Gamecocks fan servicing North and South Carolina. Whether you're buying a home, building your dream home with new construction, or turning your equity into cash, UHM's world-class service will ensure you find the perfect mortgage to achieve your home ownership goals. Call Kevin at 803-906-0244 or visit UHM.com today. Union Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS 2229, LONMLS 1772182.
Hey man, are you sick and tired of your business computer guy?
Yes, he takes forever to call me back and doesn't always respond to the requests.
Yeah, same here. I'm paying him good money. I constantly have issues, and I'm worried he's not backing up my network and securing it properly.
You know what, Phil? Let's ask Stone Blanton.
Hey, JC and Phil, if you want a solution to your IT problems, give Heritage Digital a call. Our boy Matt Odom has a low-cost, one-price solution that will get you running right. Call 843-699-1001 or heritagedigital.com and ask for Matt. He will hook you up today and tell them Stone sent you.
This is freshman All-American Nicky Memorial of the Carolina Gamecocks, and you are listening to The Show with JC and Phil.
A Monday afternoon. Welcome back inside the Gamecocks. The show is powered by our friends and your friends at Electric Bikes of Charleston in the Low Country. They will service you and sell you from anywhere in the state of South Carolina. Vinton, Velotric, Magnum, electric bikes, they're all there, and they're fantastic. Up to 28 miles per hour, 60 miles. But remember, it's not like you're just buying a moped. That's not what we're saying here. You can basically turn it into one, though, if you need to. The longer the ride and you feel like you're not going to be able to make it home, that's why you buy an electric bike. And nobody knows more about them than the fine folks at Electric Bikes of Charleston. Michelle and her staff are just absolutely unbelievable. And their selection is even more unbelievable. And their prices are incredible. And the service is beyond all of that. So make sure that you find them at electricbikescharleston.com. Electricbikescharleston.com, powering inside the Gamecocks, the show. And I want to remind everybody real quick as well. I had another person ask me this weekend. I know it's happening to all of you. We all get into the spring. We get through the holidays. Then you got the spring cleaning coming up. And then you realize your kids have banged up the walls. And then you realize you need a painter. And that's why you need to call a couple of painters. Because guess what? They also will go anywhere in the state of South Carolina. So if you head to their Facebook page, you'll see a ton of their projects that they've done. They can stain. They can paint. They can do the outdoors. They can do the indoors, the fence, the deck, the walls, the kids' room, your Gamecock man cave. Garnet, black, garnet, whatever colors you want your wall. A couple of painters. They are also Gamecock owned and operated, just like pretty much everybody else we work with around here. Sinorama, Electric Bikes of Charleston, and so on and so forth. So if you need a painter, instead of asking your neighbor, let us be your neighbor. That's who you need to call. A couple of painters. Head to Facebook, and you can find them there. And much, much more. All right, it's 12:43, guys. So, JC, I know that your voice is struggling. You got 17 minutes to go. Phil, let's push him through it here. According to the elite sports writer John Whittle of OneTheBigSpur.com, we're finally more than likely going to get some news this week on what fans have been often referencing as the 11-10 project. I know off the air, we have all spoken about this at length. We understand much of what's going on. Finally, it looks like the public is going to hear some of this as well. What are you hearing behind the scenes, or what else can you kind of provide in context?
It's interesting. It's kind of like the power of Tony Morrell as to why it's called 11-10. He was just asking his questions thread one day. He's like, "Is this 10 out of 10 or a scale of 1 to 10? How would you rate it?" He's like, 11 out of 10. So everybody started saying 11-10, and people thought it was a date, like, 9/11, something like that. No, it's 11-10. Is it going to be November 10th? That kind of thing. And I kind of thought it would be announced, though.
I thought it'd be out by now,
around that point in time. But I don't want to get into too many details about it because there's just some stuff I can't talk about with regards to it.
Can you paraphrase for those that have no idea? Just paraphrase basically what it is.
It is a deal that will bring a lot of money to the University of South Carolina without a lot of money invested. How about that?
A facility situation, correct?
It'll impact facilities. It'll impact the city of Columbia. It's a game-changing type deal, and unlike like maybe Inna Vista, we remember that project didn't go so swiftly. Unlike Inna Vista, this is more private sector funds and private dollars and things of that nature that will and just wait to see it. I mean, I think it's going to fundamentally transform I think not only the day-to-day around Columbia, but the game day experience at Williams-Brice, basketball, and then Founders Park. And South Carolina is uniquely situated, I think, or I know, to have something like this, given the size of the city, available space, needs, that type of thing. So you just have to wait and see on that. I can't answer any questions else about it, chat boxers. Tiffany says, no, my dream of them putting a lazy river in at the football ops building is not happening right now. But they'll have enough money to do it if they want.
No water park.
I always saw Columbia. Like, all right, so Spurrier and those guys were having trouble with summer visits because kids would go to Chapel Hill where it's beautiful in the summer. They'd go to Clemson where you got the big lake. It's vacation, They go to Columbia. It's 98 degrees. You're in the middle of a city. Students aren't on campus, so the life is just. I mean, you guys have been to Columbia in the summer. I've lived in Columbia in the summer. I actually enjoyed it. It's kind of peaceful.
Me too.
But it was dead. I mean, it was dead.
I loved it.
I mean, so I always thought, well, hey, here's what you do. You talk about all these bells and whistles. South Carolina, that they need a lazy river and a water park. Like a mini. If Clemson's going to have a slide, you could have a lazy river. And your guys after the workout, you get in the lazy river, just like, yeah. So anyway, that was always my idea.
In fairness, though, Columbia has a lazy river because I floated the Congaree too many times to count. And if they would just, create some type of shuttle service from the facility. Let's see. Matter of fact, I'll see Shane tomorrow night. He's going to be at a event here in Charleston. I'll tell him when I see him, Shane, you need to get a shuttle going up to the zoo and drop the team in with the rafts. And there's your lazy river. Just pick them up at the Rosewood boat landing. They'll be sober, I promise.
Do you float your cooler in a separate tube? That's my question. But
that's right. We got to check the DHEC signs for the day before you do that.
We're glad we stayed in Gatlinburg, by the way, because we're planning a vacation. We took the kids to Myrtle Beach, and it was just kind of a disaster because never let your friends book accommodations when you commit to going somewhere on vacation for a week, and they're like, "Oh, it's fabulous, man. It's fabulous. It's 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, sleeps 8. Don't never listen to that. Sleeps 8. Because it doesn't. It sleeps, 8 on top of everybody else. Yeah, it's great. And somebody's got to sleep on the fold out, which I thought I was going to break because it was rusted in Ocean Lakes for a week. The 2 kids, teenage boys, had to sleep in the same bed. There was no place to plug in their PlayStation. Not a damn bit of Wi-Fi worked half the time. These are kids from they're in high school now, dude. Miserable. So I was like,
whoa. Hold on.
Yeah.
Time out. You went to Myrtle Beach. Phil, back me up here. You went to Myrtle Beach and your kids are complaining because the PlayStation and the Wi-Fi doesn't work. Myrtle Beach has 1,000 water parks. They have a beach, for God's sakes.
Get ready,
Dude,
Jamie.
it was where we were
Your girls
at.
are too young, yeah.
And
But
the people we were with. Had we been with Dina and Phil at Ocean Lakes, I think we would have been fine.
Yeah, that would have been.
But dude, it was just about. My point is, this has happened to me so many times. When I book something, the only time anybody bitches is if it's like too nice and too expensive. Like 2017 NC State Carolina, I got a little feedback about that.
2000.
Oh gosh, this breakfast was $28. Well, it is the T Motel, sir. But I mean, going back to the first Outback Bowl when I had to, let's stay in an Amerisuites 20 miles from Ybor City, so we both can have space. Little did I know it's a loft, and I still have to sleep on the couch. And back then, if you went a night and you didn't have any privacy, that kind of sucked, right? You're in college, for God's sake. So anyway. Never let your friends book it. So I've been racking my brain because we've been to Disney and, they're getting too old for that. So I was like, where's someplace they can bring a friend so it's not going to break the bank? And we can do it. And I was like, well, that's usually Myrtle. It's usually the beach. They don't like the beach. So then it hit me. The mountains. Yep. Gatlinburg. Yeah, they can have a blast up there, right?
Gatlinburg is Myrtle
walk
Beach.
around. I'm just trying to figure out how in the hell and if anybody has any advice for me, let me know. How do I get down the mountain from the cabin to Gatlinburg to drop them off without risking a DUI?
Uber.
There's no Uber. There's no Uber
there.
Keep that in mind. There's no Uber in there. So I'm like, do I rent
now
a
you're going to have to
UTV?
bring an adult who doesn't drink.
Sounds like y'all are going to be drawing straws.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm going to rent it. I was thinking about renting one of those ATVs for the week with the big ones, the street legal.
Oh, yeah.
And drive that bad boy down the mountain and then back. And I think I can handle that. Now, big SUV, I'm not sure about. So anyway, I think we have one more break we got to hit, right, Phil?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's kick it. I'm gonna tell you about the honey bear. We'll wrap the show. Hopefully, I won't sound like I have rocks in my mouth, like 76 said earlier. Saunders shocked that Dirty Myrtle was a disaster. All right, a lot to talk about. Let's talk about it. We'll be back. 11:10 is a medieval times. You got it, Ryan.
You nailed it. Yeah,
and I'm gonna be like the king. Yeah, the king that walks out there. Hello, good fortune, my maiden. Hello, because the princess these days runs the show, right?
As long as you wear that beanie.
Like, oh my god. Anyway, all right, we'll be back. We're gonna wrap it up.
The most fun you'll ever have on two wheels. The home of Ovington, Velotric, Magnum Bikes, and more, they sell to consumers all across the state and offer outstanding warranties and service after the sale. Their electric bikes are equipped with 5 levels of pedal assist plus a throttle, so you can ride longer, handle the heat better, but still get great exercise. Bikes are available for all ages and sizes. Visit electricbikescharleston.com or stop into their store in Mount Pleasant if you're in the Low Country. Electric Bikes of Charleston, powering inside the Gamecocks, the show.
Daddy, I want you to take me to Disney World.
Horror.
Calm down. JC is here. As y'all know, folks, the family and I have visited Disney World many times, but it can be overwhelming, especially if it's your first time going to the most magical place on earth. I highly recommend wherethisroadleads.com and my friend Cherie, a certified Disney vacation planner. That's right. The mouse has given her permission to book your family vacation hassle-free. You don't know where to go, don't know where to stay, don't know where to eat, don't know what to do. It can be overwhelming. So get on wherethisroadleads.com and schedule your free consultation right now. She can help you out. The prices are very reasonable. You don't pay any extra fees. In fact, she's much more reasonable maybe than booking it straight through Disney. So for your next Disney vacation, or, more likely your first, so you don't panic, go to wherethisroadleads.com and talk to Cherie, certified Disney vacation planner, a partner of Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
Hey, Mo Cowboy here from the Carolina Gamecocks. You're listening to Inside the Gamecocks, the show with JC and Phil.
Welcome back to Inside the Gamecocks, the show, everybody. We got to fix, got to do some production on that last one there. I'm beginning to think that the scary part of it is kind of endearing and that I like it. It really is nice.
Jason,
y'all didn't watch Apocalypse Now. You don't need to know Apocalypse Now.
No, yeah, we know it. No, yeah, no, we know.
We got it.
Man, you take the kids to Disney the first time. That's going to be terrible.
It is.
Trust me. Look at JB's background now. He's been there.
Yeah, there they go. They're ready to go, JB, man.
They're ready to go to Disney, JB.
Not anymore. Not after hearing that.
Get out the credit card and get your walking. You got to go do 30 minutes of cardio every day for a month. And then take some Bengay, some sports cream, get you some good soles. Anyway.
Dude, my kids are happy just feeding the turtles in the pond. They don't.
I have turtles.
I know you do.
Turtle. My other one floated away. I'll have to think about where the hell he's at. He just went home, I think. Just like that. There's a pond right up here. I bet he's in there. Right now, he's under 6 inches of ice. All that good stuff. All right, so I got the honey bear here, right?
Okay.
You guys see this? This is the little plastic bear you get honey with. So that's what Keith said. Do honey and tea and Jack Daniels. So I guess I'm gonna take him up on it. Maybe not the Jack Daniels today, but a friend of mine made a pipe out of one of these things when they were in college. He called it the honey bear. And it was legendary. And it was my friend Kevin that I saw at the Beacon on Saturday. So how about that? And he's 197 years old today.
He's 157 years old today.
All right, so the medieval times, there's medieval times coming. Tiffany did ask, does it have to do with NIL? Not really. And I think that's good because that's thrown some people off a little bit. And then somebody earlier asked about Park Avenue. Park Avenue is still going. It's going to be outside of the university now. They're going to do the same things. So, that's the deal there. My mother just texted me a question, asked me about John Voight. I saw him on an airplane one time.
Did you?
He was going. I flew from Nashville to Vegas, but I had to go through LA. And it's one of the few times I've ever flown American. And John Voight's getting on the plane in front of me. And I was with somebody that would not know who John Voight is if you begged her, And I sat there and I was trying to get my camera. And I got him a blurry picture of him reading a newspaper in first class. But then I got the girl I was with. I got a shot. She's just walking in, but it is a from behind shot. It's always hesitant to sell it because things didn't work out too well with her. She tried to, I don't know. That's a long story. But anyway, so I never want to show that picture because I'm worried I'll get canceled. He's showing my butt. No, it's John. There's a celebrity right now. You wouldn't get out of the way. Of course, we're on an airplane in an aisle, so I don't know where the hell she's supposed to go. But anyway, Mom asked me about Mom. I just got a text from my mother. Do you know? I think the name was John Voight. Maybe. I saw him in LA one time on a plane, Mom. It's somebody else. Anyway, I'm sorry that happened.
Are there any other texts you need to read to us before we
I normally don't even look at my phone, but my voice is so crazy today. I'm like, whatever keeps me from having to talk, I'm fine.
Well, it's been the exact opposite.
Love it. Doesn't Marty know when we're on air when you're working?
No, she's a school teacher. She's a school teacher. She doesn't know anything except lunch, recess, bus duty. Planning. When does the bell ring?
Yeah.
When's my planning period?
Yeah.
We're working out a guest for later in the week, y'all. By the way, looking ahead to the week.
Yeah.
Ahead.
Are you excited about? Are you optimistic, Phil?
Oh, I just got a response back. We're gonna talk tomorrow or Wednesday to figure out something for later in the week. So I'm becoming a bit more excited.
You guys are gonna like it.
Good.
John Boy got eaten by an anaconda. Is that true? I think so. In some movie. You know, he's what's her name? What's her name's dad? Angelina Jolie's dad.
Angelina Jolie. That's right.
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie. Mm-hmm.
Y'all ever seen the South Park with the lice? The lice episode of South Park with Angelina Jolie. Anyway, I'm not gonna. Angelina Jolie's at the end of it, so just not spoiling it. You guys watch that. Kelly, help me. Yes. Anyway, yeah, I have no idea what my mom meant, but we got to wrap it up, right?
Yeah. But
I blew the end of the show. I'm sorry.
No, it's great.
No, we'll text your mom back, and if you don't mind, when we open tomorrow, fill us in on what how this conversation ends. I'd like to know what her purpose of John Boyd's.
Yeah, Quantrell's more of a Family Guy dude than the South Park guy. I like Family Guys.
Yeah.
All right, so tomorrow we'll hopefully have more to talk about. And Tiffany says the jack is kicked in. Not yet, but that was such a damn good idea. I think I'm going to go see my geriatric friends at the bar here in a little bit so I can talk tomorrow. Anyway, I love everybody.
Yeah.
This is what this is. Happy trails.
Yeah. Well, this means
gonna miss you the next time you see the show.
It's like
please come listen to us.
It's like the song that the bars play, where they're like telling you to leave at 2 a.m.
Yeah,
that in the music.
Hey, I wish the bars I went to were that nice.
Yeah. They just throw you. I was thrown into
the door, buddy.
Listen to the show. We all hope you had
back tomorrow at 11 from the Sun
in
around the
shows.
studios.